So today I'm going to be guiding us through a story. But we'll get settled first. I'll do a little bit of pranayama to start. So turning off the lights, taking away any distractions. We'll start seated for a moment. So just sitting upright. Let's close our eyes and inhale slowly through the nose. And exhaling slowly through the nose. Soften through the jaw, around the eyes, through the forehead, around the ears, the back of head. Watching and finding that inhalation. And the exhalation, if it's comfortable, focusing on breathing through the nose or breathing in any manner that feels best, especially if we're taking care of sinuses or any issues. So just breathe comfortably, inhaling, starting to feel the expanse of the breath into the body. And then exhaling, letting it go. Watching, imagining the breath come in. Feeling it go down through the lungs into the belly expands and moves. And then slowly drawing the belly in as we start to exhale, watching that breath come back out of us. The beautiful breath cycle, symbolic of a beginning and an end. Symbolic of change that happens within our own lives. This change happens within our body every single day. Create new red blood cells, other red blood cells die off. In 7 years, they say, our body is completely new. So imagine that cycle of beginning and ending. Sometimes we resist that cycle, but we know it's part of life. So appreciating the new possibilities that can come into our lives. We breathe that in here. Sometimes we can feel disappointed or saddened by something that didn't happen that we had wanted to have happen. One of my clients going through a divorce really wanted to take her girls in the camper that she now has to sell. She's having a tough time letting go of that. So let's breathe in some new opportunities, new possibilities. You can always take time to mourn a loss, but also there's new opportunities that can come in, just like this breath cycle. And inhalation is inspiration, an opportunity to renew. And an expiration, an exhalation is a letting go. Maybe this event, like the camper, had an expiration. It wasn't meant to be here the entire time. What else can we look forward to? What else can we bring into our lives? So maybe we ask ourselves here with our breath work, what we like to bring in. Start to count on the inhalation. And matching the count on the exhalation. Now that we've started to settle, let's go ahead and find our way to lay down. So you can do this entire practice sitting up if you'd like, but what we would like is no movement within the body. So if we lay back on something of cushion, of rest, you can be in a chair, you can be on a couch, you can be on the ground, which I prefer, because that way you're not going to fall asleep, right? You can get some cushions, some blankets, some pillows, lay on back, hands by our sides. We can also have hands on belly if we need that reminder to breathe into the belly. So let the belly expand on the inhalation. Now sitting up, since we're going to be here for a while, if you need a blanket over your feet or socks on your feet or something over the shoulders, feel free to grab that. And a nice light covering for the eyes, maybe a washcloth or a jacket sleeve over the eyes. That helps us to be in the moment. The more we practice being in the moment, letting go of the external, the easier it becomes. So if this feels challenging at first, don't worry. Let's inhale, let the belly rise. And exhale, let the belly fall. Just like when we were seated, maybe we can start the count, that inhalation, the inspiration, what inspires us, what nourishes us, just like the breath nourishing the body, providing energy for all of the chemistry, the miraculous chemistry that happens within the body space. And then the exhalation, letting go of what we call the waste products from that chemical exchange. However, is it really a waste product? Is anything a waste? Or can be possibilities for plants to breathe in and then give us back on their exhalation or air that we need. So an exchange. Everything has an interaction and an exchange. So we can kind of let go of the good or bad here. Things are what they are. We recently had to let go of our own camper, let go of our own ideas, or something that we were holding to or clinging to. It often feels challenging. We have this concept in yoga called vairagya, which is letting go, non-attachment. Can enjoy what is, enjoy what we have, and then let it go. It's easier to be in the present moment. We're not letting them, thinking about the past or worrying about the future. Just let the body relax a little more. Let's start our scan from the crown of our head. Feel everything melt as if it was caramel or syrup spreading over the crown of the head, down around the face, the neck, the shoulders, spreading like a beautiful warmth. A sweet, sugary coating throughout the body, to our shoulders, out to our arms, you could even imagine the body like a block of ice, tension, and think of some warmth coming toward that block of ice and melting that tension, that hardness away through our chest. Metaphorically, like the block of ice, we can block experiences or sweetness. So let that syrup or that caramel start to spread through the entire body, through the torso. Down through the hips, the upper legs. Feeling warmth down through the knees, behind the knees, through the lower legs, around the ankles, down to our toes, and out into our feet. And wherever we find our hands, whether they're resting on the belly or we gently drift them off to the sides, let's focus our energy here in the palms of the hands. Focusing here, we start to imagine warmth in our hands. Perhaps like we're holding a hot mug of warm coffee or cocoa or hot cider that was just resting in our hands. The palms start to feel really warm as we can imagine, comfortably. Or maybe we imagine our hands rubbing together in front of a fire and then holding them out to feel the warmth of the radiant flames. So breathing slowly in and out. But here, let's focus really on feeling. Imagine a hot stone from a hot stone massage in our hands. Picking up one of those visualizations that we liked, an image of warmth in the hands, or finding a different one that resonates for you. And imagine with each breath it getting warmer and warmer, warmth comfortably into the palm of the hands. Notice how calming that can be. Oftentimes when we get nervous or we feel anxious, our hands get colder. So using this technique of warming the hands mentally actually changes the body, the physiological response, calms the body. Just returning to the breath. That inhale simple and that exhale. Feel the ground beneath us. Back of the body resting into the earth. The front of the body resting into the back of the body, resting into the earth. an entire block of ice. We imagined with our body completely melted, coated in the sweetness, the warmth of a caramel or syrup. I'll be offering a reading. You can just enjoy the feeling here, that visualization of the warmth in our hands or throughout the body, listening to my voice, listening to the music, or just enjoying breathing here as we relax. This is a story about misfortunes and blessings, gracefully dealing with the ups and downs of life. It's one of my favorite stories. Imagine ourselves on an old Western frontier. There lived a man who was particularly skilled in raising horses. People knew him and called him, literally, Old Frontiersman. One day, for some unknown reason, his horse got loose and ran off into the far territory, beyond the trees. Everyone had assumed that the horse was good but lost. Horses are very valuable to people living on the frontier. So many regarded this loss as a huge financial setback. People would come and visit the old frontiersman and express their sympathies. But he surprised them by remaining calm and unaffected. Much to their puzzlement, he would ask, "Who says this cannot be some sort of blessing?" Months later, the horse returned to the stable with a companion, a fine steed. It was as if the old frontiersman's wealth suddenly doubled. Everyone came by to marvel at how a new horse arrived and congratulated him. But then again, the old frontiersman showed no emotions, and he said, "Who says this cannot be some misfortune?" One day, the old frontiersman's son, who enjoyed riding, took the new horse out for a ride. An accident occurred, causing him to fall badly and break his leg. Again, sympathetically, people came to him to console the family. And again, they saw the old frontiersman remained as calm as ever. Just as before, he told them, "Who says this cannot be some sort of blessing?" A year later, a war broke out, and all able-bodied young men were summoned into the army to take up arms in defense. Fierce battles ensued, resulting in very heavy casualties Many were lost. The old frontiersman's son did not go to battle because he had broken his leg. As a result, he was spared the horrible fate, as 9 out of 10 men did not return. So his family survived the war intact. Thus, blessings may turn out to be misfortunes, and misfortunes can be blessings. And they can change from one to the other endlessly. The workings of destiny have truly fathomless depth. Each blessing or misfortune is like a two-sided coin. Who knows, if you lose a horse, is it a blessing or a misfortune? This idea can be applicable whenever we encounter a situation that seems completely against you. When you're completely frustrated, discouraged, or hopeless. This phrase reminds you that things may not be as they first appear. Many great sages teach that everything happens for a reason. Temporary defeats and all disappointments contain a golden kernel of a lesson custom made just for you. Just as we must lower ourselves to jump higher, just like a bird leaping from a tree, falling for a moment to rise up again, to take flight, learning the lesson in a spirit of humility will give us extra energy that we need to fly over the next hurdle. And when we look at it this way, who says that the negative stuff can't be some sort of good news in disguise? Misfortunes is what fortunes depends upon. Fortunes is where misfortunes hides beneath. Thinking of the two-sided coin, every failure harbors the hidden seed of future successes. Every triumph contains the cause for future defeat. So the old frontiersman wasn't mortified by bad news, but neither was he over ecstatic about what others considered good news. Here comes the path of moderation. Without moderation, life is but a roller coaster ride. It may be thrilling at first, but the non-stop peaks and valleys soon wear you out and make it impossible for you to have the peace of mind. One moment we are high in victory, and the next we will crash and burn. Bringing us back to that idea of vairagya, the idea of enjoying the moment and letting go of the attachments. We will still experience joy and sorrow, but not the debilitating intensities of extreme emotion. You can partake fully in both celebration and grieving, but not overdoing either to excess. Instead of the peaks and the valleys, life becomes a series of gentle rolling hills. The extreme ups and downs become the exception, not the ride. Ultimately, this story teaches us that things simply happen in life. They are not good or bad, they just are. They all serve the greater purpose of providing life lessons. But if we are too quick to judge them as good or bad, based on initial impressions, we run the risk of losing sight of the real lesson. So the next time that we think something bad happens or makes us upset, remember, the old frontiersman loses a horse, but who knows if it isn't a blessing? We can stay here as long as we'd like, enjoying. Appreciating being in this moment. But for now, our time has come to an end. So for completing your practice here, you can start to wiggle a finger or a toe. Deepening the breath, inhaling and exhaling. And stretching our hands overhead like a deep morning stretch. And then rolling to our side, bending our knees. And using our hands to help ourselves up to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Feeling the breath into the body, inhaling and exhaling. Bring our awareness into our hands. Feeling the warmth of a hot chocolate mug in our hands. Or the warmth of rubbing our hands together and then extending them out to be in front of a fire, feeling the radiant heat. And then bringing our hands to heart center. A gesture of reverence for ourselves, for a greater connection. Greater connection to ourselves and to others. So with that same reverence, and I thank you so much for joining me in practice today. Namaste.